Well, good morning and welcome to our first Attraction Mastermind. And this is an opportunity for us to get together. I'm setting it up initially to be every other week so that we can talk about revenue share, learn from each other, hear about each other's experiences, and learn more about what's happening with the company, what to say, how to say it. And of course, like everything in life and in work, it's time on task over time. So the more we say it, the better we're going to get at it. So I wanted to just share a couple things. I don't know how many of you had an opportunity to participate in the shareholder summit that was mostly Monday and Tuesday. It did start on Sunday night. But I saw some interesting things. If you go into Workplace and go to the EXP Shareholder Summit group, you can scroll down and see some people's experiences, but also see some interesting information. This is something that our friend Dylan on the Big Island put up, and it's fascinating to me because it really speaks to how lean and mean EXP as a company is. And to me, that bodes really well for when, and I think it's already happening, the market shifts, and there's going to be less income for all of these companies. And so, it's just a bar graph of the operating cost divided by the transactions for each company. And you can see, Compass is one of our competitors here, certainly in Hawaii, and it's a competitor all over. But Compass is a brand whose model is basically to buy the agent. So their model is that they give the agent a big bonus. And if the agent leaves, they have to give the bonus back. They have to, however, spend the bonus on marketing, tasks and opportunities. And, for some of the bigger producers that are doing 30 or 40 million a year, they also have a 90-10 split. So if you figure it out, if I'm doing 50 million at 3% is 1.5 million in gross commission income. And if you take 10% of that, that's $150,000. With EXP, that kind of agent would get all their stock back as an icon and would wind up spending about $7,500 for the year to have their license with EXP at the same level of production. So anyway, that's an interesting stat. And another one that I kind of like, because some of the sessions talked about the health of companies in the marketplace. And EXP, because it runs lean and mean, because it doesn't have brick and mortar costs and it doesn't have so much management and infrastructure, is able to run leaner and meaner. And so what that means is, this is another interesting graphic. This is a graph that illustrates the actual debt level of companies in our space. So Realogy is a big parent company. If you're not familiar with them, they own Sotheby's and Century 21 and Coldwell Banker. They have many, many brands under that parent company. And you can see that even last year, where there's more money than ever in real estate being sold, they're carrying a lot of debt. And same for pretty much all these companies except for us. And again, I think that's a real testament to how strong our company is and how agents can get excited and feel confident in what we're offering. So I'm going to dig a little bit into what Bailey and I have put together, which we're calling the Revenue Share Playbook. And I'm in search of a team name for our revenue share group. So I put in the Google sheet that I shared with you, the what I'll call the I'm calling it the Abundance Collective, and we're in the process of getting the materials together to put a group up in Workplace. And so that'll be a place where you can go, or other people that you start to work with can go, to just have some tools, some guidance, resources that are available. And of course, I'm here for that as well, to help. So let me pull that up, and I'll just talk a little bit about it. It's like I'm speaking to an audience of one. How much fun. Okay, here I go. Someone said something, maybe that was you, Gordon, but I didn't hear it. Was that you? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're not getting your audio. It's all broken up. If you're near a computer, you could type in the chat, but otherwise I can't hear you. So if you're asking me or saying something, I'm not able to hear. So this is the RevShare Playbook. Everyone got an email with it this morning just before we set up the meeting. And basically, it's a Google document. If you don't see the outline on the left-hand side of your navigation, there's an icon that's usually here that you can click so you can expand and look at the outline. And these are the 4 R's of revenue share. You know, this is the process of building a revenue share business. First is to recruit. And in order to recruit, we need to practice, and that's how the conversion process happens. I mean, generally speaking, whether I'm working with a buyer or seller, it's the same process, right? And it tends to follow the Pareto principle of the 80-20 rule. So if it follows the 80-20 rule, then for every 5 people I speak to, 1 person will have an interest. And if every 5 people that have an interest, 1 person will come and join and take advantage of the opportunity that we're offering. Of course, once they come on board, we want them to stay. And in order for them to stay, they're going to need to have a good experience. And so that's, you know, I see that as my job primarily as we grow this thing, to be able to support the agents, answer questions, and provide them with resources, if I can answer the questions, to people that can. And then, you know, the revenue part is really speaking to real estate and practicing. You know, when I bring an agent on into my downline and they don't sell anything, it doesn't really benefit any of us. It's good that I can say they're in my organization, but the whole idea is for agents to leverage the model, the tools, you know, the collaboration that happens, to be able to do more and more business. And for me and my little team of Bailey and Kat, this is the time, you know, for us to shift and really sharpen our axe, get better with our CRM, make more phone calls, make more touches to the people we've done business with, plant referral seeds with them, ask them, you know, I'm curious, you know, of all the people you know, who do you think might be the next person to sell their home? And build those conversations, because there's going to be less business. So for me to earn the same amount of money I've been earning, I've got to get more market share, you know, otherwise it won't happen. So the revenue, you know, piece of it is important. And EXP has so many tools, you know, and I venture to say that a very small percentage of the 83,000 agents that we have now take advantage of them. because they're, not able to allocate the time to learn about them and build their skills with them. But this is really, if there's going to be less business, this is an ideal time for that. It's not a time to worry or, move into a scarcity mindset, if you will. And then reproduction is the fourth R, right? How do we reproduce everything that I just spoke about? So I'm not going to make this conversation very long, but I'll just go over a few things. The first page just talks about mindset and some ways to, look at this whole opportunity. To my knowledge, there's no one in our industry that's providing this kind of opportunity to generate passive income. And on page 2 of this playbook, it talks about, creating your top 50 list. Maybe some of you have done it. Maybe you haven't done it. And whether you've been with EXP for a month, a year, 5 years, if you haven't done it, it's something you can do. It's make a list of the top 50 people that come to your mind that you might have a conversation with. And of course, probably the top of the list would be agents that you know, agents that you speak to, agents whose property you've just shown, agents you've been in escrow with. Take the opportunity to have a conversation with them. And, they may have likely in many markets, they've heard about EXP. But when someone says, well, I've already heard about that, the response is, well, yeah, we're the fastest growing company in the history of real estate. Most people have heard about it, but have you actually had an opportunity to look at the model and the 8 different ways you can get paid when you work for EXP? Because most people haven't, and even if they've had a presentation, I can't assume that it's a presentation where they've looked at the full model and seen all the aspects of it. So I put some links here. And Bailey and I, there's a lot of material out there. And so we've taken the time to put together what I feel are some of the best materials out there. The Brent Gove one is simply a link to his 35-minute presentation called The Model Explained. And if nothing else, when I started, when I got people on the phone, all I said is, let's watch this together. And not, I'm going to send it to you, watch it and tell me what you think, because most people won't. But if we watch it together, whether it's in person or on a Zoom like this, he runs through the model. He's very heavily caffeinated. And this is an option, and it's what I did in the beginning. And I just, the question you want to ask at the end of the presentation is, so what did you like best about what you saw? And it's not, so what did you think? It's, well, what did you like best? So you can get a sense of what are the pieces of the model that they resonated with. So that's this Brent Gove link. The Gene Frederick link is a 7-minute video. It's known as the napkin presentation. You can find it on YouTube if you type in Gene Frederick and napkin presentation. But it's really a fascinating insight. What he does is he puts 4 numbers on he does it on like a whiteboard or a flip chart, I guess it is. And what he illustrates is, what would it take to save $900,000? Over a period of many, many years. It might take you 20 years to save that much, as a retail realtor. And then how much of that you can take out of your savings based on your retirement account to have some income every year. And then he illustrates what it would take to do that through revenue share. And it's basically sponsoring 6 agents, 1 every other month, over a 2-year period. And it comes out to $36,000, right? Because 4% of 900,000 is 36 and the same. So I'd really encourage you to watch that. It's only 7 minutes and, get your head around it. See what you think of it. And the last one I want to point you to is this third-party validation call, because for us, when and if you choose to do this, I'm here to help you. I'm here to do the heavy lifting, if you will. I'm here to get on the phone with your prospect, and the process is pretty simple. We get on the Zoom. I tee you up and say, hey, thanks for joining us. And wow, you've connected with Gore, and he's really a great agent. And he's so creative and so thoughtful. And, it's so glad that you have a relationship with him. And then Gordon tees me up and says, well, here's Ron Margolis. He's been with the company for 3 years. He's one of the top 20 agents on Kauai, and whatever you're going to say to, build me up. And then just sit back and I'll do the presentation. The best thing you can do is nothing, say nothing, and watch and learn. And you'll learn about how to do the presentation yourself so you can replicate, as I talked about earlier. But that's really all, I'm proposing that you do. And the woman, Casey Council, now some of these people, are making 7 figures, $1 million plus a month in the revenue share they've built over the last 5 years. So you can do it too. You may not do it to that level, but set a goal. If you can grow your business even 10% a month, in 3 years, you can be earning, 25,000 or more a month, and think about what the effect that would have on your life. Then there's some more links. Keep reaching for my mouse. And there are a number, this will be a link to scripts that I put together, that I've been practicing, that I've been using. And then most of the rest of this document, the next couple pages are scripts, just kind of general, responses to things that people may say. And for those of you that haven't used scripts are a guideline. They're kind of an insight into ways to frame things. Sometimes the scripts have NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which are ways to psychologically affect someone or move someone, guide someone in a conversation to get, the result that you want, and make them your own. Say it in the words that you would say it. I wouldn't tend to go too far afield unless you've, had success in writing your own scripts, because these are all scripts that experts have used and kind of culled down based on thousands of conversations. And this is a section with one particular agent. I think he's out in either Arizona or Colorado. And this is from his team. And so he specifically answers some of these questions. So, when you have the time, they're there for you. And there's a few more pages in here. Now, when I onboarded 3.5 years ago, the process wasn't very clearly defined. And I've watched over the last 3.5 years the process evolve and evolve and evolve. Now, we're part of Brent Go's group. So I'm on Brent's 6th level. And you guys, of course, you're in my group, so you're part of his group as well. And Brent has 3 onboarding concierges. And so when an agent comes in and they decide to join the company, either once they filled out the application or after they've moved their license, it can happen before or after, they can set up an appointment with Brent's onboarding concierge. And let's say, because those are two different scenarios, right? And I hope that you understand that when I'm closing someone in terms of this attraction conversation, and I say to them, so the next step is just to fill out the join app. There's no commitment, it's totally confidential. Your broker won't know, your MLS won't know, your board won't know. It's just a private, confidential dialogue between you and EXP. And it gives you the opportunity to download the world, to experience going into our virtual office, to take classes. And when you choose to move your license, we have a concierge to help you do that. And if you look at it for a couple of weeks and say, it's not for me, and this model is definitely not for everyone, then no harm, no foul. Your application will just time out as if it were never there. And so take the opportunity for people that are hesitant to just offer that to them. For the most part, I think when people that are open-minded go in and see it, they're going to take the next step. And so either that step or when they've filled out the joint application, you can set them up with this onboarding concierge, and they will get on a screen share. They will tour them around the campus. They will show them KV Core. They will put some useful files and resources on their desktop. So, and we've put together, mostly Bailey, our own set of onboarding tools. It's in the form of a Google Classroom document. So when someone is ready to do that and they're ready to fill out the application, Bailey will send this to them. And then lastly, these are just 3 weekly opportunities. Well, this is our first call. And so this call, starting out, I just want to work with each of you and answer your questions and get to hear from some of you what your experience is. And as you do more of this, you'll have more experience and there will be more people joining our group. And I coach with Sean Kokoska. Sean he's been coaching for 25, 30 years. He's the person who, with his mom, set up the coaching program that Keller Williams has called MAPS, and wrote curriculum for them like Bold, their Bold seminar, which is a wonderful seminar. He now has his own coaching business, and he does coaching on agent production. He does coaching on agent attraction. So on Tuesdays is a half-hour call that's just an open forum. You're welcome to come anytime. You have the link, and I send out the link every week. And it's just an open discussion. The discussion goes in whatever direction the agents take it to. If someone says, well, what are people doing to get more listings when the market's slowing? You'll hear from agents all over the country and kind of some interesting strategies. This week, I heard a strategy that came from a group in California that was talking about getting your seller to consider, rather than lowering the price, offering a seller credit. And the seller credit can be used for the buyer to buy down the interest rate because the rates have gotten so high. But when you're getting a mortgage with a certain amount of cash, you can buy down the rate and get a better rate. I thought that was an interesting tidbit that I certainly hadn't thought of. And on Wednesdays, Sean does an attraction mastermind. And that's a gathering that will be similar to what we're doing, except there's hundreds of people on the call and you can hear what they're doing. It's open to any EXP agent. And then finally, every other Friday, we're going to do what I'm doing now with this small but mighty group of people. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share. And so now I've done all the talking. Do you guys have anything to say or anything you'd like to share or ask?
Yeah,
Thanks, Ron.
Oh, go ahead, Gordon.
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you, Ron, for your presentation. That was awesome. I feel very very well informed of all the opportunities and tips for revenue share and all that. So I really appreciate your presentation. Go ahead, Bailey.
I'm glad you could come.
Your 2 favorite takeaways from this week with EXPCon.
My 2 favorite takeaways. One was looking at the next generation of EXP World and the acquisition of this company called Frame. Because one of the things that some people have resistance to, I'm just talking on a bigger corporate business level, is that EXP World takes a lot of horsepower. They're always uploading patches and different things as they evolve the platform. And Frame is offering the same kind of thing, but within a browser. And anyone can build their own virtual world in the browser. And so it makes me realize, or I did realize, how far ahead we are in what people are calling the metaverse. It's like we're out there, we have our own metaverse, we're working in it, we're thriving in it, we're growing, robustly in it. And so that was exciting. And it was exciting to see the expansion. There was a session I went to from Success Coaching, right? So EXP a year or so ago bought Success Magazine, and that's a magazine about success and entrepreneurs that's been around for many decades, I think over 100 years actually. And we acquired them, EXPI acquired them, and now they've launched Success Coaching, and they've set it up so that they're bringing it into the revenue share piece of the model. So if Kat decides that she wants some coaching, and my sense is, because I didn't, there wasn't a lot that was shared and it's only a short conference, this is more about life coaching and mindset and getting clear on what your big why is and getting what you want. I don't think it's the kind of coaching that I do with Sean Kokoska that's talking about my time blocking and what are some ways to get buyers to call me. I don't think it's real estate centric coaching, although it may be, I could be totally wrong. But I'm sure because it's being done on a very large level and subsidized by EXP, it's going to be very affordable. And so 20% of the revenue of the coaching is going back into the whole revenue share piece. So, there was this, well, you said 2, but I'm going to just give you 3 just because I think you'll allow me the opportunity to do that. This was something in the presentation I saw, in one of the 2 big sessions on the Partner Hub. And so this is a current list of all the third parties that are connected to our ecosystem. And all the ones with the $ are ones that represent additional earning opportunities within EXP. From, CE Education to Verbella, to Express Offers, to Curbio. And, I don't know if any of you have taken the time or have thought about taking the time to get Express Offers certified. But Express Offers gives you the ability as an agent to market yourself, that you can bring a seller an all cash offer within 24 hours, close in 10 days. And should you find an investment for that, institutional buyer, you get compensated. You're representing the buyer, right? You are the buyer's agent, and you are also guaranteed the referral when the buyer flips it. Now, all the people in that space, and the biggest player was Zillow, and Zillow vacated the space about 6 months ago because they lost so much money. But in some markets, Open Door and Redfin are very aggressive. I hear that in Texas, you can't get in your car without hearing an ad for Open Door. And these are, these iBuyer platforms are trying to cut out the realtors and take away their commissions. For us as an agent, the opportunity is to get people to call you. If I mail out a mailer to sellers and say that I can do that, some people are going to call me And that's all it is. It's an opportunity to have a conversation, because when I go to them, I say, here's what my buyer will pay, or, I can bring it to the open market, and this is what the market value says it is. We might even price a little bit below that and get a bidding war going. So it's an opportunity, and a powerful opportunity. And as the market slows and more sellers are sitting on the market because they're unrealistic about price, there's going to be more opportunities from being able to have that in your toolbox. So those are my three. How about you, Bailey?
I haven't been attending, that's why I asked.